what's happening here. For some reason my screen is my screen's shortened that I'm looking through. So I don't know if it's actually shortened for you or if it's just shortened for me. That's unusual. So how have you been? As last time, things are still a bit crazy here. Excuse me please, I'm just having a drink. This is the first chance I've had to sit down all day. It's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon here at the moment. It's the first day we've had in a while that we haven't had rain. I think last time I was on, I was complaining about how hot and dry it has been and how humid. Well, then we had a few days of rain, which was good, but now it's all humid again. We're supposed to have another week of rain, but we haven't had as much rain as what they have predicted, so I don't know whether we will be getting another week of rain. It'll be good if we do because it's still quite dry, but of course the rain brings with it the biting insects and humidity and whatnot, but that's okay. As usual, I have forgotten to light the mosquito coil before I started, so I'm just doing that now. It's, I think it's Sunday afternoon here at the moment. I lose track of days sometimes, especially over the holidays. I've been like a bit of a, I don't know, I've been non-stop going through my supplies for the last, I think, 4 or 5 days now. And still I'm nowhere near the halfway point. By the time I sort through things, decide what I want to keep and what I want to part with, and then wash it, press it, organise it, sort it, photograph it, whatnot, it takes so long. But that means I haven't been able to get to the post office to post parcels, so if you're waiting on parcels, I apologise. I hear that postage has opened up to Canada again, but when I checked on Friday, they weren't accepting mail at my local post office, and online it says that it's still not opened. So I'm not sure what's happening. I do know that some post offices are accepting mail and parcels, but they're going into storage. And my postmistress doesn't want to do that because, as she explained, sometimes when they go into storage here, they're never to be seen again. So she says we're better off to keep them at home until it's opened up for sending. Which makes sense, but it's bloody frustrating. But anyway, now it sounds like there's a big truck coming. Oh, it's the fellow that does the road works. He must live down here, because I see him come past every now and then. Now, I think I've left something I need inside, of course. Thinking I was all prepared, and oh no, here it is. I do have it. So I've been giving a lot of thought to where I want to go with this channel this year, and I have been asking for suggestions, but none of you have really offered anything, and that's okay because it's not your job to do that. But I was just thinking, if there's anything that you'd like to know, like me to show you tutorials or whatever, I'm happy to do that. In the meantime, this is just a what's it called, a cartridge pad that I bought inexpensively at the time, and again, this place is not cheap anymore. I spoke to the lady that was working for them a while ago. I can't think of my words, I'm sorry, I'm a bit tired. And I think, I can't remember how we got onto the conversation, but I had emailed them saying, you know, what's going on with this order or whatever it was. Why was everything so cheap? And essentially they were moving to a bigger... They were moving to a larger warehouse, so instead of moving all of their stock, they just reduced it massively. It was over 75%, some of it was 90% reduced. So when I had the money, I bought what I could, but that means now, and I went through a lot of the good, fairly decent watercolour paper quickly, thinking that it was going to stay reduced, not realising until after I'd used it that they were just moving, and now the prices have gone through the roof, and I think for the quality that they are, they're not worth the prices they're charging now. But anyway, I digress. I've got this cartridge pad. So what I was going to do, like I said, I wanted to do some tutorials over this year. I've always said that I didn't want to attach a subscription to this. I'd like to make it available to everybody, and the main reason is because in the past when I've gone looking for things to learn, I've found tutorials online but haven't been able to afford to do them. So I want to be able to make it available to everybody. However, I've had quite a few people contact me telling me that they want to pay even just to watch these videos I do, and I find that a bit odd because I don't think I'm giving you much value in the content at this stage, and I appreciate tremendously that you'd like to pay. I'd love that. That would be wonderful. So now I'm wondering if I could set something up and make it available to everyone, but have it so if you'd like to offer me something, that you can do that if you wish. I do have Buy Me a Coffee set up. No one's actually utilised that. I don't know why. Maybe it's not the best platform to use. I was under the understanding that if you would like to donate money for what I'm sharing, that you could just get on and choose your amount and do it that way. But it doesn't get used, so I don't know. Maybe I need to find another way. I know I can monetize YouTube, but add a subscription to this, I don't know if I want to do that, because from my understanding it's either subscription or not subscription. I can have the both, but if you want to see the subscription content, if you can't afford it, you can't see it, and I don't want it to be like that. So if you have any ideas or suggestions, please let me know. Yeah, I do have PayPal. Of course, any amount is helpful at the moment, especially with vet bills and doctor's bills and specialist appointments and things that I've been needing to pay for, and that's going to be ongoing for the next 12 months at least, apparently. But yeah, anyway. So, back to this year. Let's try and nut this out a bit. I haven't had a chance yet. I sat down in bed last night to write a few things down, and I fell asleep with the notepad in my hand, which was a bit frustrating. So I didn't get to do, I've been pretty well non-stop all week, all weekend, haven't stopped, so I'm getting tired again. So what I'm thinking, I'm going to continue doing the needle books. I will continue making those because I have been selling them in my store. Oh, just forgot to put this on Do Not Disturb again. Sorry guys, I'll just fix that now. What I would like to know is, would you like me to do any organised needlebook tutorials? And if so, I think I would do a series. Instead of just doing these long videos that I've been doing. So yeah, I will continue to do the needle books. I can't spell today, sorry. Then I'd like to participate in Kate in the Nest is doing a pouch, a series of pouches over the year, for at least for the next 6 months. I haven't watched all of her most recent videos, but she's doing a series of pouches and I believe they're going to be monthly. So January is joy. I think the theme is January joy. I should have written this down before I got on here because now I'm doubting myself. I know she's singing joy to the world, all the boys and girls, joy to the fishes in the deep blue sea, joy to you and me. So she's taken elements from that to put into her pouch. I believe you can take anything from joy, so it could be joy to the world, any other thing that you can think of. So I'd like to participate in that. However, because I'm madly trying to get the needle books done, completed, uploaded, I need to compile some more needlebook kits because I've nearly sold all of those, which is great. Thank you so much. I'm going through all my stuff at home here. I'm looking after my doggo who's not the best health at the moment, and I'm helping with some family members, so I'm quite pushed for time really. I mean, I'm probably not, to be honest. I do everything so slowly. So for that reason, I think I'm going to do, this is very small. My January pouch I think will be just this small. I'm only going to do a small one to start with because I would like to participate, and in my mind I'm thinking if I start off with something small, it's not going to overwhelm me. I'm not going to get to the point where I go, holy crap, I can't deal with this anymore because I've got this other stuff to do. This is easy enough to carry with me when I go to appointments and whatnot. And in my mind, this size is achievable to start with until I get the feel for it and get into a rhythm and whatnot with these Kate in the Nest pouches. I'm going to start with this size. The next thing I would like to do is I'm always trying to recycle and upcycle. And this is something my grandmother taught me, but at the time I had no idea it was recycling or upcycling. She did it out of necessity and taught me a lot of things. It started teaching me when I was about, from memory, 5 or 6 years old. And I used to go to her place after school every day, and yeah, I've spent many hours with my grandmother, and she taught me a lot about recycling and upcycling. And then when I started spending time with my great uncle, who was in essence more of a grandfather than an uncle, he started teaching me upcycling as well, but more along the lines of, instead of with textiles, he taught me things with metals and timber. And one of the things he used to do, which I thought was incredibly unusual at the time, but we grew up with it, so it was just something that was normal. He used to pull apart washing machines and use all the different components from a washing machine to make planters for the garden. So the metal drum would be a planter. The funnel, the agitator, he'd flip that upside down and put wire and hang it as hanging planters. He would. He used to get, he had, I think at one stage, 5 or 6 clotheslines in the backyard, and he would cover them with either canvas or shade cloth and create greenhouses and things. He used to use, the things he used to recycle, he used to recycle old car tyres into planters before, you know, it was one of the first times I ever saw them. He was I think a radio tech in the Air Force, radio engineer or something. So he had this, he was an artist as well. He used to do a lot of painting, he used to teach art at the TAFE. He had some fantastic ideas and things he created. So I've picked up a lot of things from him, a lot of things from my grandmother. My grandmother was a dressmaker and she specialised in bridal gowns, like couture bridal gowns. Anyway, so I've got this whole recycle upcycle ethic that I've tried to carry. And another reason I've picked that up is because throughout a lot of my life I haven't had a huge amount of money, and I've been forced, especially when I ended up homeless and whatnot for a while, I was sort of forced to recycle and upcycle. So I still do that quite a lot. So the point of this conversation is I've been looking at tutorials that I can do that, I mean, there are already tutorials out there, but I thought we might go along. I'd like to do some, I've got a pile of clothes, okay, old blouses and shirts and trousers and things that I don't want to repair them because, I mean, usually I repair my clothing, I patch them up, I do, you know, visible mending and whatnot. These particular pieces are either ones that have bad memories attached, or they're not things that I want to keep giving life to, but I don't want to throw them out and waste them. So I've been looking for ways to utilise those. And of course I normally pull them apart, recycle any buttons or anything that can be reused, zippers or whatnot. But something that I've discovered recently that I think I would like to do is some zoken. They're Japanese. Now, forgive me if I get this incorrect because I've only just been learning about them in the last 12 hours or so. From what I understand, a zoken is created from layers of fabric, usually old clothing or kimonos, and they are just layers of fabric So the tutorials I've seen are usually 2 layers, but I believe you could add up to 4, maybe more. They are folded in layers, stitched around the outside, turned inside, you know, so that it seams on the inside, and then they have what we call shishiko style stitching on them. And I was reading that the Japanese didn't necessarily know the word shishiko. I believe that could potentially be a European or a, you know, it's a more modern name. So the other thing I read about Zoikins is that when the children in Japan start preschool or daycare, preschool, I'm going to say preschool, they have to take their lunchbox, you know, with their lunch in it. I think they take, you know, like we do, maybe a sheet and a little pillow, but they also have to include in their preschool kit a zoikin. And I believe that they also learn to make them at preschool, but they have to take their zoikin to clean the classroom. And I've watched videos of these tiny little children zipping around, polishing the floor and whatnot. But anyway, I thought we'd make some zoikin. And of course, they've got, I haven't had a look at there's a copy of a vintage manual in a library, I believe, online, a Japanese library that I was going to have a look at, because they've got all different patterns of stitching. One of them, I'll probably get this wrong, one of them was similar to this. And the main reason for the stitching is to just strengthen the fabric more than anything. So that apparently this was one of the designs that the children are taught at school, this stitched pattern. So anyway, I thought I'd like to do some of that, or one of those at least, as a tutorial this year. What else did I think of? I was going to do different kinds of embroidery stitches, but I think there's that many out there now. I don't know if that's really necessary. I mean, I can if you'd like, but there's a lot out there. Now I can't think of what else. I've got a complete blank now. Goodness me. Think anything in here that might prompt my memory. I don't know. I'm wondering. Oh, one thing. I don't know whether to do this or not. I have been asked to share some of my op shopping trips. So what do I look for? What do I look for? Which sections, I suppose, do I head to? I don't know if it's really worth going over what type of op shops I go to, because I guess it's pretty well standard here anyway. There are different op shops are all owned by different people. You know, you've got your charity stores, Vinnie's, the Salvos, Alira House, Adra, all those sorts of ones. And then you've got the privately owned ones, and then you've got the ones that go more into a second-hand store, and then the ones that sort of go more into vintage and antiques and things. So I usually steer clear of, I suppose I could do that. I usually steer clear of antique stores just because they're expensive. Yeah. Even the second-hand stores are usually very expensive. But if I was to do videos on op shopping, let me know if you have any questions. If I walk into an op shop and I'm recording what I'm doing, what do you want me to show you? I've got what am I looking for? Which sections do I head to? What type of stores do I look for? I mean, I have my favourites, and I don't get to them as often as I'd like, simply because I don't have a car. Yeah, so that's something else I could do. What else can we do videos of throughout the year this year? I don't know whether when it cools down, whether to do some fibre prep types of fibre. I don't know if anyone's interested in this. Spinning, wheels, drop spindle, support spindle, plying, I can go through things like that. If I do that, that will be usually in winter. It's too hot to play with fibre in summer here. If anyone's interested in that, let me know if you'd like me to do anything on the fibre. I don't know if you're interested in any more painting. Now I don't often paint landscapes or still life or anything like that. I usually do more abstract. And mainly the painting I do is so I can use it in journals or to make, I do a lot of, I haven't for a while, but I do little cards or coins, kindness coins that I can leave around for people to find or gift to people, things like that. Abstract painting. And I also do some fodder. So flowers, hearts, things like that. So that's another thing I can do if you're interested. I did some hearts the other day. I haven't finished those. I should have brought those out to finish them off today. I don't think I'll get into jewellery making again this year, just because it's time consuming, and I don't, if I bring in another medium at the moment, I'm not going to spend the time on these things that I really need to. But honestly, anything to do with textiles, stitching, hand sewing, things like that, if there's anything like along those lines that you'd like to learn or like me to show, or I can go over a lot of that. Even things like, if you want me to go over things like, I want to use this word, it's probably not the correct word, rules, embroidery, for example, using a hoop, when to it's just little tips like not leaving your needles in your work. I do everything wrong. Needles in work. How to store when not in use. I mean, even things like doing this, for example. I should have it wrapped in a hand towel, a cotton hand towel or a linen hand towel. I should have it wrapped in that when I'm not stitching it and when it's in my bag, and I should have that towel laid out to work on as I'm working to keep it all clean. Just all these sorts of tips and things that I've learned over the years. Wrapping work while not using. To use a knot or not. Let me think. I could sit down and think of a lot of things, I guess. But if you're interested in that, I can do some, maybe I should call it tips, because I don't like to say that there are rules. When I used to learn fine embroidery from international tutors, we had a lot of rules, and I don't like to enforce rules, because then people sort of think, oh, well, bugger this, it's too hard, you know, why are there so many rigid rules and restrictions? There doesn't have to be. So maybe I should just call it tips, because they are helpful. And if you don't know about them, you know, once you learn these things, sometimes it's just like the light goes off and you go, oh my gosh, why didn't I know that? Now, I'm not a big advocate for using the correct needle for the type of stitching you're doing. Don't get me wrong, there are times when a chenille needle might be the best and the only needle to use, you know, a wool needle, a quilter's needle, a milliner's needle, you know, a beading needle. There are occasions where you will probably or likely need to use a specific type of needle. However, when you're doing just general hand stitching, it's not as important. Oh, look, as I'm saying that, my brain's going, well, it is really. Yeah, I'll talk about that later, another time. Just trying to think what else. Please, 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 if there's anything you would like to learn, you'd like me to show, please let me know and I will add it to my list or let you know if that's something that we can do. I'm just trying to think. If there's anything I can show you guys, for example, I'm trying to think things like covered buttons, but not the cover. You know how you can get the metal button and you cover them with fabric and you sort of press it in and it's a pre-made button with a shank. I don't mean that. I can show you how to make covered buttons out of well, I used to use linen, but we could use cotton fabric. You sort of, and then roll it up and then cover it in needle lace. Can show you things like that. They will be quite handy for things like using on the needle books as closures or on pouches or on different things, possibly. What about tassels? Decorated tassels. And I don't do big fancy gaudy ones, just little, you know, and mainly hand stitched and needle lace and things like that. Could do covered rings. I'm just trying to think what we could use as a ring and what we could use them for. Covered rings. What else can we do? I'm trying to think of things that aren't seen regularly, you know, outside the box, or more traditional types of things that you may not have seen for years, or that I can still manage with my poor eyesight and fumbling fingers. So yes, again, if there's anything that you can think of that you would like me to show, please let me know. I'm just thinking I'll try and do this won't be the tutorial, but I'll try and show you what I mean by the covered button. So this, I just had this sitting at the side there. It was in a pile of stuff that I was getting rid of, but what's that? About an inch wide. Yeah, there we go, about an inch wide. We'll just start with that. Nothing special, nothing in particular, just something that was sitting there. Now I'm just looking for some cotton. I should have some here. Maybe not. I bet I didn't bring it out. What a doofus. I'll start with this then. I'm looking for some crochet cotton. I don't have any, so that's okay. We're not quite up to that yet anyway. It's been years since I've done these, so forgive me if I make a mistake, because I'll be remembering on the fly at the moment. I'm just looking for a small needle, like a quilting needle. That looks like it could be one tucked in there. Not quite a quilter's needle, but it should do the job. It's a bit long, I think. This is where I need a needle threader, because I cannot get... Oh, there we go. Okay, so this is that strip I just picked off to the side. I'm just wondering if I should fold it in this way. I might do that. So I'll fold the center, because I'm thinking if I don't, what tends to happen, it ends up bulkier on the folded side than on the non-folded side. So I want to try and balance that a bit. So I'm finger pressing that right down the center. I won't need all of this because I don't want it that bulky. Now I'm going to open that up and press this into the center again. Not again, but press the outer edge into that center fold we just made. I don't know how long I need this length yet, so I'm just now we do the other outer edge into the center. I don't think I want more than that, because I might make this to put on here. I don't know yet, but it could be a possibility. Now, I don't know yet. That should be a good size, actually. So what I want to do now is try and... This is where it gets tricky. I want to roll this in very tightly. I'm just looking to see. This is a bit tricky. Yeah, maybe I can roll that. In my fingers, I want it as tight as possible. I actually have, well, my dad made me a tool which was pretty much a needle with the end snipped off that I could stick in there and roll it. Goodness knows where that is. I haven't seen it for years. Oops, bugger. had that. I thought I had that happening then. Every time I have it move in, I drop it. So what we can do potentially is get our cotton, and I will do a knot. I wasn't going to, but I'll do a knot, and maybe we can just sort of get in there tight. So as we're going, you know what else I might do? I'm struggling to keep those edges from rolling out as I'm going, so I might just give them a bit of a stitch here. Now I don't want to pull that too tight, I just want to hold them into the center. I just want to stop them as I'm rolling it. Those edges are moving outwards with each getting further and further apart. So I'm just going to try and gently try and just hold the edges into the center, if that makes sense. And again, as I said, it's been many years since I've done these, so I'm sort of remembering as I'm going. And I'm not, oh, I have picked that up. Not that it's going to matter too much in the inside there. I'm trying not to pick up the back of that. I'm just grabbing this top layer of fabric here. That's better, that's how I wanted it to go. Yeah, that's better. So you can see I'm just pulling that tight enough so that it's just holding those edges to the center. That's all. And again, I don't remember having to do this with the linen, but I think from memory I didn't fold the center in with the linen. I just folded it in half, and then I found it was a bit lopsided. So as I'm doing this now, I'm thinking if I do it this way, it should even it up a bit. We're still going to have a bit of a hollow around the middle though, I'd say. That should be okay. I don't know if I mentioned to you guys, I ordered some fabric from Spotlight on Christmas Day. I had a voucher and they had 50% or more off a lot of their stock, so I ordered some fabric I've been looking at for a while, and I think I got 3 or 4 bundles and 3 fat quarters. Well, I think there were 4 bundles because 2 of the bundles came from one store in Sydney. The other 2 bundles came from 2 separate stores, and then I've been waiting for the fat quarters. And the fat quarters were from the same range as one of the bundles, but they were different prints. So I've been waiting and waiting. I got notification to say that they'd created the label for the fat quarters and they were coming from the Miranda store. I've been waiting and waiting. All the other bundles arrived, not at the same time. They arrived over about 10 days. I've been waiting. The label is still registered as being created. Hadn't been posted. I mean, what on earth is going on? On Friday I thought, I'm going to ring them and find out. So I got online to see if they'd sent an email with their contact details. And as I was looking, an email came through to say they had cancelled the order. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So that was a bit disappointing. I mean, it was only 3 fat quarters, but still, I was waiting for those. I'd assumed that they ran out of stock. So that was a bit of a bummer, because they're not available online anymore. Somehow the system didn't work, or they were purchased in store, or something happened. This is taking a bit longer than I thought it would. I'm probably doing the stitches closer together than I need to, but I'd prefer it to sit nice and evenly instead of having bits rolling out. I get into a bit of a rhythm, I think. I was talking to you guys, I was sort of concentrating on what I was doing, but not really paying attention to the stitch sizes, if that makes sense. Oops, nearly lost the tail. I'll just go to the end of this piece of thread, I think, instead of going the whole length of this fabric. I've got a whole heap of stuff I've been, as I mentioned earlier, sorting through. I finally got some stuff sorted and photographed today that I will be uploading to my D-stash tonight. So that's on Instagram if anyone wants to have a look. I've got some laces, some fabrics, some couple of vintage fabrics here and there, buttons, all sorts of things. So that's at Gladys and Maud Unearthed, I think it is, but there's a link in my YouTube bio to take you to my D-stash if you're interested. I'm just trying to get rid of stuff because I want to make room to set up an art room. I just don't have the room here because I've got too much stuff. So I want to get rid of things. I'm never going to use it all. And if I can get a few dollars to help go towards these bills and get a new phone, because as I mentioned the other day, my phone is now in 3 pieces. It keeps shutting down. It's just the poor thing. Every time it shuts down, I think, oh crap, that's it, it's done, it's dead. And then she boots up again 20 minutes later. Oh my goodness. So it's very stressful at the moment with my phone in the state it's in. Nearly at the end of this piece of thread. After going through all this, I just hope it works the way I want it to. The way I'm thinking in my head it will work. I don't want to get all this done and then go, oh bugger, that's not going to work. I've been stuck in this loop, this cooking loop. I cook my own meals. I enjoy cooking, but I'm stuck in this loop of cooking the same thing every night, and it's starting to get a bit boring. I've been cooking the same thing for about 4 or 5 weeks now, nearly every night. And one of the reasons is because there's a lot of things I can't eat because my body doesn't agree with it anymore. I don't eat red meat. I don't eat gluten. I can't eat hard foods because my teeth shatter. So I'm stuck in this loop of the same meal nearly every night. And it's getting a bit ordinary, and I'm trying to work out some new things to do that I can eat. Okay, I've done that bit, and I've just left that thread there. We don't need to end that off at this point. Now I've cut another piece of thread. And now I'm going to try and start rolling this again. That's much easier. That's rolling much better now. Trying to get it nice and tight. And so it's rolling and it stops rolling. You rotter. I want to try and keep it straight. That's a bit of a challenge at the moment. Okay, get in there. I want to try and see these ends are popping out. I don't want that to happen. Might be a bit unavoidable. So I'm just going to sort of catch the edge as I'm rolling. It would be better if I could do both edges at the same time, but I'm not that clever. So I'm basically just catching it to make sure it doesn't keep unrolling, that's all. And sort of helps pull it in a bit tighter as well. Okay, catch that edge again. Come on. Okay, it's getting a bit easy. See that, how that's popping out? We don't want that. Even though I've stitched that, we're getting folds in there, but that's okay as long as it doesn't get bulky in the middle. Catch that side again. This doesn't have to be, no, sorry, this doesn't have to be tidy. Because this will be covered. Catch that side again. It looks like I'm going a bit further than I thought I would. Not much. I don't think I need to go too much further. Catch that. Where are we? There's that tail. I'll snip that off. And you'll notice that we're at the end of where I'd stitched that centre. So I'm going to come back through and stitch down that edge. Just secure that edge so it doesn't come unravelled. I don't need much more, I don't think. And then I'm just going to keep the needle attached. I'm just going to come through here. There's no need to end it off yet. And I'm just going to continue on this, bringing this center in again. Just finger pressing it again. Okay, let's just stitch this in a bit more. And again, I don't think I need too much more. I can't tell you at this point how much because I'm just going off. If I want to put this as a toggle on here, it's going to need a little bit more weight in it, I think. Just trying to look at it in proportion to the needle book. And at this stage I don't have any magic formula for that. Now this technique I'm doing, or my crude version of this technique, was something I learned when I learnt traditional Naxos embroidery. which is stitching on linen. I think it was, is it the island of Naxos? I don't remember now. It's been 30 odd years since I learnt it, so I'm surprised this is coming back to me, to be honest. Just a little bit more. I'll cut those threads off in a minute. That might even nearly be enough, because let's have a look. Roll it up. A little bit more. It's getting the better of me. I'm going to trim them off. This is just from the fabric. Okay. Now it was a complete coincidence that this piece of fabric was sitting there beside me, and if it wasn't sitting there, I don't think I even would have thought of doing this. I've just got a pile of offcuts and scraps and things there that I was going to put into a grab bag, and this was sitting there with them. Getting a bit lopsided, but that's okay. Oops, pulled that in a bit too far then. Okay, let's finish that off now, hey? Every time I say that or think that, I'll just do one more. I'll just do one more. Oh, hang on, just one more. Goodness me, this is ridiculous. Okay. Now, I'll tie it off this time. Righto. Okay. And put another knot in this piece. It's got to be just knotted, so I'll get that knot out. There we go. And this time I might stitch down the opposite side to try and level it out a bit. Okay, let's keep winding. Try and get it as tight as we can. Now, I want to snip the fabric off now. I probably could have gone a little bit longer, you know. And look, that's come undone that I just rolled up. That's all right, we'll fix that in a minute. I want to fold this over and finger press it, and we'll go back to rolling, 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 and back to where that didn't really catch it properly, and I'll go through again, pick that up, and then I probably could have done this a little bit neater across the end there, but it shouldn't be seen, so it shouldn't matter too much. I just want to get it all to hold in place. Okay. Now I'm going to go through here to this side and not stick it through your finger, and just stitch this down. It's a bit loose in there now. Oops, I got a knot there. Let's fix that. There we go. Then I'm just going to whip this edge down. Oh, come on. And see, I'm doing that. I don't know if that's picking it up. I'm doing that quite wide apart so I can, as I tighten that stitch, it's tightening that whole roll. Pulling it in nice and firmly. And now I'm just finishing that off, ending it off, putting a bit of a a knot in the thread, then I will just tuck that thread in there and snip it off. Now I've got a little rolled, I don't think that lens is focusing, I'm sorry. It's not focusing, is it? A little rolled fabric with all the edges turned in. Now, to do the rest of it, I'm going to have to leave you for a minute and go inside and get some crocheting cotton. So if you can bear with me for a bit while I duck inside, if I can do it without tipping everything over. I won't be too long, guys. Bear with me. Okay, see if I can do it without tripping over the stand. Okay, I only grabbed one colour, so I hope it will work. I've just got to plug the phone back in. It's okay, you've slept through me coming in and out, you silly Billy. I'm not going anywhere, it's okay. Okay, now this gets a bit tricky again. I want enough thread so I don't have to join it, but I don't know if I'll be able to pull that off, to be honest. So this is just crocheting, vintage crocheting cotton. I'm changing needles. Don't know what I even did with it. Oh, that's on the table. And I've just got to try and remember how to do this now. This next bit. There goes that needle. Blowing away. Come on, thread, you bugger. There we go. Okay. Let's see if I can remember this. We want to come up at the center. I'm not putting any knots. In fact, what I will do is start again. I want to start on this side's a little bit flatter, so I want to start on this side. So I'm going to go in. Oh, bugger, I keep pushing it through my finger. It's getting very sore. So I want to go in that way. Leave a little bit of a tail, we'll cut that off later, and then come back down through the centre. And back up, and that should, we don't want to pull it too hard. That should secure it enough that I don't have to put a knot in it. then we can snip this tail off. Now, this is where it gets tricky. We want to try and do a buttonhole stitch from the center. And work out. I'm actually using a little bit of that fabric to start this, and I don't remember doing this last time, but I don't know how else to start it. I probably did a magic loop or something, but I don't remember. So I want to do needle lace. So I'm just push that through my finger, through that finger now. I want this quite firm, but not that firm that we can't pass anything through those stitches we're doing. A bit of fluff in there, a little bit of fluff. I can't. There we go. Come back and make sure I've moved away from that center a bit, so I just want to try and come back to the center again. And I'm just trying to work out in a ring shape, in a circle from the center. Every time I'm putting the needle in, so each time I'm going in here, I'm going from the center. The center of that ring of fabric. And I'm just catching enough to establish a base. From the center again. Now I think I can fit one more in before we get back to the beginning. And now I'm just going to continue into that first stitch that I placed. And because I'm working outwards, we're going to have to put 2 stitches in some of these foundation stitches so we can grow with the shape. We don't need 2 in every stitch, maybe only every second or third stitch, and goodness me, it's hard to see where those stitches are. Getting a bit twisted, so I need to untwist it a bit and just continue stitching into those foundation stitches. Oh, you rotter. And I missed that loop, so missed that blanket stitch. I'm just picking it up to make sure I'm just getting that same stitch all the way around. Now this is still quite twisted. I'm holding it out to untwist it, but it's that windy, it's not unraveling. Oh, this is fiddly. I don't have enough hands. Okay, another one in that stitch. I'm not picking up the fabric now, only in that foundation round. Crikey. Get out of there, you rotter. There we go, that's undone it a bit. Oh, it's still twisted. Look how tangled that's gotten because it's all twisted. That's a bit better, hopefully. Okay. I'm just trying to work outwards in a spiral, stitching into the back of those foundation stitches. Get over there. I tell you what, I've chosen a dreadful colour. This is very difficult to see. Oops, we're falling over. Hang on, let me try and straighten you guys up again. Oops. Oh, goodness me. Don't know how long that's going to last because it's fallen apart. I've got it all held together with sticky tape. Okay, what's happened here? Got another knot. There, look at that. This is because it's twisting. As I'm stitching. Okay. And I'm just going to, I've lost track of if I'm back at the beginning or not, but I'm just continuing to stitch around in a spiral now anyway. Tell you what, it doesn't look very neat. I hope it sorts itself out as we go. And again, I'm not picking up the fabric. We want that behind. Oh goodness, that's gone through that and I don't want it to go through that. Okay, make sure the thread's behind the needle so we're getting the blanket stitch. Oh, goodness me, it's hard to see those stitches. I'm not picking up the fabric, I'm just putting it in the stitch I've done beforehand. Not the last stitch, but the stitch on the row before. And as I said, some of those stitches you might need to put 2 stitches in as you're working out. Some might only need 1. You just keep watching how it's expanding. Goodness, there's a lot of yelling up the road. Let's unravel it a bit more, hey? Look at that, look how much that threaded energized just from me stitching. Look, I'm getting worried that this is, like I'm up to the edge here already and I'm nowhere near it here. That shouldn't be that lopsided. Maybe I've just got back to the beginning, it's starting to look a bit better. This is probably a bit boring again, I guess. It's not much. I don't know what else I can say. Just keep going around in those stitches from the last row. Gee, it's not the neatest stitching I've ever done, that's for sure. Goodness me, get in there. Maybe I need a magnifying glass for this. Oh, goodness. Hopefully when we start going up the barrel it will be a lot easier, I hope. And see how this, I don't know if you can see that this tail has split. Is it showing you that? So I'm going to snip that off because that has a tendency to knot and we don't want the knots to keep happening. Oops, goodness me. Sorry guys. It's just all worn out. Oops, I flipped you the wrong way. Oh no, what's happened? Oh, cripey. It's not going to hold. It's cactus. Ah. Oh, come on, don't give out on me now, you rotter. No, stay. Come on. This is the only stand I've got. And it's finally given up the ghost, I think. I don't know. I don't have anything here that I can hold it together with. This is really frustrating. Now that whole bloody bit's gonna fall off too. Ah, shit. There's got to be a way that I can set this up so I can finish at least. Let me see. I need more hands. Let's look at this. I've just found, I'm trying to hold this and find something within my reach that I can bodge it up with. And all I can find is, oh crap. I've got a rubber glove. I was sitting on the bench above me. Oh, come on. Let me finish, please. I'm running out of hands. Oh, come on. There's got to be a way I can do this. There's got to be a way. Let's work this out. I knew I would have pushed my luck too far with the stand and the phone and everything that's fallen apart. Oh, come on. It's just not quite long enough to wrap around to tie it off. Bum, come on. Lots of huffing and puffing and exasperation and... Come on now, please be friendly. The whole bloody holder's cactus. Okay, come on, we're getting close. I bet you I'm going to say I'll stretch it that far it'll snap. Knowing my luck. So I'm just trying to use the rubber glove to hold the... I can't even stand up from here. I'm in the most awkward position. Okay. Come off it. Please be nice. Come on. Stay together a little bit longer. I'm about an inch too short, if that, with the rubber glove to try and hold it together. Maybe if I slip that over there. Oh, come off it. Okay, I've got two pieces together now. If I can just tie them off. I don't know if this is even going to work. Ah, tore it. I was afraid of that. Ah, it's fallen out of the holder again. Bloody hell. I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish, guys. I don't have anything else that can hold my phone. It's not broken. The thread's been stripped out of the, and even though I've taped it all together, it won't hold anymore. This is incredibly frustrating. You guys must be seasick by now. Okay. What if I prop it up? Oh, you bloody thing. I'm running out of patience, can you tell? Okay. Please, please, please. Okay, in theory, if I lift this a bit, it won't lift. Of course it won't. Lift this a bit. Maybe I can prop it up with something. I've lifted it too high. Of course. It can't be easy, can it? Okay, let's drop that down a bit again. I've got a product for my plants, a dusting powder that I'm going to prop it up with. It's holding. How long is it going to hold for though? It's just balancing, I think. It's just propped up with that dusting powder. And I'm just trying to tie it off to make sure it won't slip again. And what happens? It slipped again. Oh man, this is really cheesed me off. Oh man. The problem is there's so many components that have now broken that even just trying to I need more hands. Even just trying to bodge it up and balance it is not going to work anymore. I wish I could express how incredibly frustrated I am and annoyed. And because I had a heap of unexpected bills before Christmas, I can't even afford a new bloody stand for the phone. Okay. It's not in the right spot, and if I rotate it, it's going to... No. So the question is, am I actually going to be able to continue stitching so you can see it? That is the question. And you know what? The bloody thing that I've got holding it up's in the road. Okay. Can you see? I don't even think it's focusing, the rotten thing. I've got to be so careful. It's literally 2 meters away from my wrist, and if I bump it, it will crash down again. I have no doubt about that, because it's very precariously balancing right now. I was really just hoping I could show you this. Finish it off at least. At least show you how to get this happening. Might have to go back to the old years ago when I used to record before I had a ring stand. I used to pile up some tins and jars and things and tape my phone to them. I might have to go back to doing that at this rate, I think. I'm so frustrated because it's taken me years to get the materials I needed and the capability to be able to record, and I've only been doing it for a few months, and my phone dies and my bloody light stand dies and my everything falls apart. But you get that, don't you? Okay, I'm just continuing to work in a spiral around. I don't know if you guys can see, it's showing me that that's not even focusing, but my phone is so damaged. As I said, it's in 3 pieces. The lens cover is completely missing. The whole lens cover's just disappeared because it keeps falling apart. One lens doesn't want to focus at all anymore. I'm surprised, touch wood, it's still working, because it keeps overheating and shutting down, and oh man alive. I've been working really hard to try and earn enough money to get a new phone, and I still just haven't been able to achieve that yet. But we'll keep pushing through, and I need to snip off this tail again. See, it's all split. So that will keep knotting, so we want to snip that off. Let's unravel it again. Gee, I hope you guys can see because I can't see through the monitor. I hope you can see better than what I can. Otherwise this is going to be completely pointless for you. Okay, now these stitches, it looks a bit untidy still. These stitches I'm pulling quite firmly, but not that firm that we can't push the needle through on the next round, but we don't want them to be loosey-goosey either. So I'm just continuing in this spiral motion until we go over this lip. Once we start going up the barrel, we won't need to increase anymore. We'll just keep going into the next consecutive stitch. If we keep increasing, it's going to flare out and we don't want that. So we just keep increasing while we're working this base. And to increase, we just, as I mentioned earlier, we just put 2 stitches in every second or third stitch as we go. That tail is all split again already. Keep going, keep going. We're just starting to come over that lip now of that edge. So we can nearly, not quite, nearly start working up the barrel. And as I said, once we get to that point, we don't need to increase anymore. I need to snip off that tail again, it's getting caught. Finding it difficult to see those stitches again. Section seems to be a bit sloppy. Now can you see we're coming up now? We're over that lip and we're starting to work up the barrel. Oh, you rotter. Okay, I'll keep going. No more increases necessary. It would help if I could see the stitches. Oh man, get in there. So, as I mentioned earlier, if you'd like to help me get a new light stand or a new phone, I'm going to upload some more things to my D-Stash page tonight. They're not there yet. There's some there already, but I'm uploading more tonight. So if there's anything there that you think you might be interested in, go and have a look. I'm trying to upload regularly every 2 or 3 days at this stage. It's taking me that long to sort through things and photograph and whatnot. But everything that you buy is going towards helping me get on top of my bills and hopefully soon get a new phone and a new phone stand so I can keep doing this. Alternatively, if you're in a position to really support me, I do have an Amazon wish list. There's some items in there. Of course, they don't have to come from Amazon. It's just the easiest way to show what I need or what I wish for. So that could also be an option if you're in a position to do so, if you'd like to do so. No pressure, of course. I've just had people ask how they can help, and I've got that set up. I think I've got it set up so it can be done anonymously. I don't need to know who's done it. Of course, I'm incredibly grateful for any support, even if you just subscribe and like and possibly share, that all helps. Even just watching helps. Leave me a comment or something would be good. Not. More knots. Must be going to rain again. It's coming over. It's supposed to rain again. It's getting dark. It's not time to get dark yet, so I'm assuming it's cloud cover. Goodness me, this poor one's a bit untidy. I'm just really struggling to see some of these stitches though. Now, it should be getting a bit easier now because we're heading up this barrel and I should be able to see the stitches a bit more clearly. A little bit, not much. This is a dreadful colour to be stitching with my eyes, that's for sure. And again, I'm trying not to catch that fabric. I'm just catching the stitch in the row before. Oh gee, it's twisting quickly. Like I said earlier, I hope you can actually see because to me it's very blurry through the monitor. Hopefully you guys can see something. I was hoping that I'd cut a piece of thread long enough to do this all in one piece, but I don't like my chances. It's running out much quicker than I was hoping. There's one spot here, for some reason, it's just really untidy. I don't know what I keep doing or how I keep getting that mess there. I'm sorry I'm not centered in the screen very well. I've got that, oh shivers, don't you fall over. I've got that bottle right there beside my wrist trying to hold the camera up. So it's in the road of me being centered. Oh, don't knock over, you silly Billy. I have had some lovely, incredibly generous people buy from me. I'm so incredibly grateful. And I was thinking that money was going to go towards buying a new phone, but then we had vet bills that I'm still paying off and unexpected medical bills for myself, and all sorts of things happened. So thankfully though, your purchases have helped me stay in my house, which is good. Wouldn't want to have to be needing to leave because I can't pay. I think we're in a bit of a rhythm now, thank goodness, with this. Just got to try and keep it in that shot. Oops, don't knock that over. It's taking longer than I thought it would. I'm starting to wonder whether I need to finish and then come back and show you the finished product. That tail's split again on this thread. Try and keep going as long as I can, because obviously the more I snip off the shorter it gets, and I think it's going to be inevitable. I'm going to have to join it anyway. There we go. As soon as I speak about it, it knots up. Okay, let's snip it off again. Don't know, didn't wax that bit. I don't know if waxing it would reduce that happening. Oh goodness, look at that, all twisted up. Okay, let's keep going. This would be good with a linen thread, wouldn't it? I've got some linen here, but the one I've got frays very easily. It's not overly mercerized, so it just frays and falls apart after a couple of stitches, which is a bit of a bummer because I reckon it'd look really good. I think, from memory, I haven't bought any for years, but I think DMC does a range of linen threads, linen like stranded. I reckon that'd be good for this. So the idea is, if you haven't caught on already, which I'm sure you have, cover this piece of fabric in this stitch, this, I don't know, I call it blanket stitch, but I think it's called something else when you're doing it this way. We'll completely cover it, and then that will be used as a toggle or a button for a closure. You can use it for the top of a tassel if you want to make a tassel. You can use it as a bead and string a heap together to make a string of beads. But in this instance, I'm making it, and I don't even know if I'm going to use it on this needle book, but the idea was to show you how I can make this toggle to use as a closure on a needle book or something, or a pouch or a purse or something. And as I mentioned earlier, this was a technique I learned from, it's called Naxos embroidery, which is a traditional type of embroidery. I might be wrong, but I've got a feeling it's Greek. I'll have to look it up, I'm sorry. And traditionally it was red thread, I believe, on linen. As you can see, this is something I forgot to mention. I thought of it when I was doing it and then I forgot to mention it. When I was making the roll with the fabric, I kept looking at it for the size, thinking, you know, what size did I want it? Went a bit further than I thought I'd have to because it wasn't big enough. What you've also got to remember is that adding the cotton layer, the woven lace bit, is going to make it a little bit bigger as well. Can you see it's a bit... Oh gee, I hope that's focusing, because it's not focusing for me. But I hope you guys can see it. I'm so frustrated with this poor old camera. It's nearly 6 years old, this poor phone. Goodness me. Anyway. Do you know, I used to upgrade my phone every 2 years, and I just haven't. It's just, everything's just gotten so expensive. For over 20 something years, I upgraded it every 2 years. I just haven't been able to. I've got a knot, if you're wondering what I'm doing. There we go, got it out. I'm running, this thread is quite short now, so, and I don't know how I'm going to join it. I haven't worked that out yet. Oh, the whip birds are out, or the male's out at least. I just heard him call out again. Must be that time of day. The female, he just called and the female called back straight away then. Don't often hear her. This reminds me of things that this stitching, this little thing I'm making, for some reason reminds me of little, I don't even know what sort of things, like little things that my great-grandmother would have had in her sewing kit, or I don't know, I don't even know. Possibly toggles on their own little needle books. I can't remember, but it reminds me of things that my grandmother or my great-grandmother would have had in their stitching. He called out that time and she didn't respond. I wonder if she's playing hard to get. Oh, it's the magpies. I haven't heard the magpies for ages. I love it when the magpies start warbling and singing away. There he goes. The whipbird just called and she responded immediately that time. I get excited when she responds because you don't often hear her. He does this, I don't know if you can hear it, I don't even know how to replicate it. He sort of does this with a crack at the end of it, and then when she responds she does this little cheep cheep. It's not even cheep cheep, it's much nicer than that. I don't even know how to explain it, but there he goes. She didn't respond that time. Waiting for him to call out again. There he goes. That's it. She didn't respond. Oh, just cracked my neck. I don't know if you heard that, but that was my neck. All I did was lift my head up a little bit. Oops, missed the thread there. There we go. Oh, not much thread left now on the needle. So now I don't know if you can see that clearly through the monitor. Hopefully you can. What I've stitched looks a bit like a little basket with the rolled fabric sticking out the top of the basket. And that's what we want. We want it to look like a little basket. And keep going. Again, we don't want to catch that fabric if we can help it. Those birds have stopped. I wonder if it's because the storm's coming. What are you getting all excited about? My dog's at the door now. She's all... I think when I finish this bit of thread, we might end this video today, hey, because I think if at this rate we'll be here for another 2.5 hours doing... I just heard those birds again. She responded this time. I think at this rate we'll be here another 2.5 hours just trying to finish this toggle. Hopefully I've been able to show you enough. What did you say, Bubba? Hungry again? She's pushing buttons. I think she pushed the hungry button. I think she means outside. She's been doing that a bit lately. Pressing hungry for outside. Hopefully you may have seen enough of this to at least get started. I just hope that it's in focus, because like I keep saying, it's not in focus at all from where I sit. Oops, I got the fabric. There we go. Nearly at the end of this piece of thread. She answered straight away that time. Hungry? You're not hungry. I think you mean outside. I'm nearly finished, Bubba. Soon. She's answering him every time now. The last few she has anyway. Twisted again. I'm right up on my toes trying to do this. I'm in such an awkward position. I'm racing to beat the storm and to beat the camera falling over again and to let Missy outside, because she keeps saying hungry, and I think she means outside. She's been a bit traumatised again the last few days with the neighbours. So we've had some undesirable behaviours happening again. Not wanting to go outside, that's not one of them. She's been struggling again, the poor mite. Okay, I think it's time to end this bit off because I'm nearly out of thread. And I still don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm just working to that seam. I'll just keep going to that, not that it matters, but sorry, I'm off the shot again. Sorry guys. Okay, now, no idea how I'm going to do this. Let's I wonder if I just, oh goodness me, I've got a cramp in my toe. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, shiver me timbers, that hurts. Oh, it's burning now. It's okay. I've gone in right next to where the next stitch should be. I don't know if this will work. And I'm just going to push it through the fabric, pulling it firmly but not too tight that it sucks it all in. Then I'm going to work back down into it, if it will go. Oh. Let's try and get back in there. It's that tightly rolled, I can't get. Okay, let's see if this will, okay, now that hopefully will just anchor that bit off. Trim this off, and then, and I don't know if this will work, but this is all I can think of at the moment. Let's get another fairly long piece because I don't want to have to end off and start again. Thread the needle. Thread the needle. I know, hungry baby. Soon, I'm coming, darling. I'm coming. Okay, that's quite long, that bit. Now what I will do this time is wax it and see if that will help at all. So I've got a bit of wax here. Thread conditioner, I think it's called. I try and go in both directions, but today I'm just going to, that will do for now because I'm running out of time. I just like to use this when I remember. If you can read that, it says Thread Heaven, thread conditioner and protectant. I try and use it most of the time. I often forget though. So I've just run my fingers over that waxed thread now. Now I'm going to come up at the bottom where we started the bit end that's already been worked. Going to try and push the needle through there, and again this is just, I'm making this bit up as I go because I don't know what else to do. Leaving a little bit of a tail there for now, and then this is going to be the tricky bit. We want to go beside that piece where we came out, and we want to try and push that. This is going to be tricky. Might have to work our way over to this edge here because it's going to be hard to get that to go where I want it to. So I've just sort of moved over to the side here. Now I'm going to run the needle down here somehow under the fabric, in the fabric, and I want to come out in the middle of that last stitch. That one there. Hopefully you can see that. I can't, my monitor's telling me it's that bloody blurry. I can't see it. Hopefully it will translate to being clear, but that needle is coming out right in the center of that last stitch I did. And hopefully we can just carry on in the next stitch and we won't even notice that there's a join there. Like that. And we want to snip this tail off because we don't need it now. Snip him off, and we will continue with our needle lace slash basket stitch. Like that. That thread conditioner is helping. It's much better. And there we go. We'll just continue in this fashion until we get to the top, and then we'll just start to work inwards, and we'll sort of just reduce those stitches as we work inwards. There's a bit of a storm picking up, guys. My thread's that long now, I'm getting it tangled on everything. Oops, I got a knot. Oh shit. And I think that's going to be the end of us today, guys, because there's no way I'm going to be able to get that to set up again. And What a bugger. Okay, there's the... It's not focusing, is it? I might be able to show you now though what this is what my phone looks like. This is, look, see this? It's that hot. It's become so hot that many times. All the glue's melted, so the back case doesn't stay on any longer. You can see in the reflection the insides of the phone, and the whole glass bit that covers the lenses there has disappeared because it's just constantly falling apart. Even the case that I keep it in, of course I've put it where I can't reach it. It's normally in a case all the time except for when I've got it on this stand. The case has disintegrated. About 3 days ago it just disintegrated into pieces. So I've ordered a new case, but I can't afford anything else at the moment. So unfortunately I'm going to have to end there. I'll show you if I can. I was using this to prop it up just now, and this is what the stand is now like. It's taped up that many times. This section here is now threadbare. It won't thread anymore, and even if I get it back on there, it just falls off. The actual light is broken. The pin was snapped off when the dog accidentally tripped over it one day. So yeah, the stand's cactus, the phone is cactus, it's not in a great way, but unfortunately I don't have the budget at the moment, so I've got to try and make do somehow. I don't know, I've got to work out how I can film moving forward, but anyway, that's where I'm at. I've just taken a big chunk out of the top of the bench then. Obviously I won't be able to do it like this because I'm holding it with my hand and I need 2 hands to stitch with, but I'll try and I'll probably finish this before I show you guys how I've finished it, because yeah, I don't know how I'm going to do it. As I mentioned earlier, I'll just go back over this. Oh, goodness me. I'm going to continue to do the needle books this year. I would like to know if you'd like me to do any tutorials on how I do my needle books. And they sort of evolve as I go too, so it's not a be all and end all, but if you'd like me to show any more details on how I do the needle books, try and do more organised, structured tutorials, let me know. I'm hoping to join in Kate in the Nest with her nest pouches. She's doing a collaborative series this year, at least for the next 6 months, and go and have a look at Kate in the Nest if you don't know her already on YouTube. Very vivacious and vibrant and energetic stitcher. Her work's incredible. It's very raw and dynamic, and yeah, it's very cool. So go and have a look at her work. She's hosting this collaborative nest pouch series. January's, I believe from memory, is Joy, and she's doing Joy to the World all the boys and girls, joy to the fishes in the deep blue sea, joy to you and me. So she's picking elements from that. She also has 3 elements that she's suggesting we include. You don't have to. I can't remember them. There's a trinket or a tassel. I can't remember. You'll have to pop over and look at her videos. But as I mentioned earlier, I think I haven't started yet, but I think for my January one, I'm just going to do a small one for my first one, because I'm limited on time, and because I think if I try something bigger, I'll get overwhelmed. So I thought I'd start off with something small about this size for my first one for January. Then I think I'm going to try and do a tutorial on zokins. They're a Japanese cloth that I explained earlier. Recycled fabrics. Then I was thinking of doing, I've had a few questions about how I do my op shopping. Not necessarily where I go, but what do I look for when I get to the shop? Where do I head to first? What sort of things do I look out for? What type of stores I look for? If there's any other questions you have, if there's anything else you want me to answer on op shopping, let me know and I'll add them, and I'll try and do some videos on that. Let me know if you want me to do any videos or tutorials on fibre. I will not be doing any of the fibre until winter, because it's just too hot here to be playing with wool and fibres like that. But let me know if you want me to do any fibre prep, types of fibre I use, spinning, how to use a spinning wheel, a drop spindle, a support spindle, plying, anything else you'd like to know. If you'd like me to cover any of that, let me know. Let me know if you'd like me to do any more watercolour. I don't necessarily paint landscapes or still life. I mainly do abstract, and I mainly do abstract that I can use to cut out cards and tokens and coins to put on verses and encouragement to leave around for people. Or I do fodder like the hearts I did the other day, or flowers, or things that I can cut out and slip in envelopes and things, or journals or whatnot. So let me know if you'd like me to do anything on that. I was also thinking of doing some videos on, we're not going to call it rules, tips on embroidery, using a hoop, when to use it, the best way to use a hoop, little things like not leaving your needle in your work, why you shouldn't leave it in your work, how to store your work while you're working on it, wrapping it when not working, to use a knot or not, how to thread your needle your thread, how to choose a needle, anything else you can think of. If there's anything you'd like me to cover, let me know and I'll add that to the list. I started writing this list in the beginning. One of the things I thought of was a covered needle lace button, which is what I've been trying to show you today before my camera stand packed it in. How to make tassels, how to do covered rings to use in embroideries, anything else you can think of, let me know. I'll try and come up with some more ideas as well. But yeah, let me know if there's anything you want me to do, cover, any tutorials, any series, anything like that. Let me know and I'll add it to the list of things to do this year, as long as I can get my camera and my camera stand working. But I'm going to say goodbye, guys, because Willow's busting to get outside. She probably needs to use the toilet. There's a storm coming. I'm not going to sit here any longer holding this with my hand, because then I can't do anything. So thank you very much for joining me once again. I hope you learned something, even if it was how to not let your camera stand collapse through the middle of a video. Anyway, I don't know what else to say. Thank you for joining me. I hope you were able to see something today. Please let me know in the comments if there's anything you'd like me to cover. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. That will help me tremendously. If you're in a position to help, you can either send some money to buy me a coffee, you can send me a message and you can PayPal me some money, or I've got an Amazon wish list in my bio, you can have a look at that, you know, or you can go to my D-Stash page and see if there's anything there you'd like to buy. Anything, even just liking and sharing and subscribing is really helpful, or leaving a message, anything helps. So thank you once again so very much, and hopefully I'll see you guys again before too much longer. Have a great day, be safe and be kind.